You're listening to Careers and Cocktails, career talk with a twist, hosted by expert recruiter Renee Frey. Let's get this party started.
Welcome, party people, to Careers and Cocktails. I am thrilled because we are actually on site today. We are out of our office studio, and we are at Wander North Distillery in Minneapolis. And I am joined with Brian Winter, the owner and founder. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, I'm going to share a little bit about him, and then he's going to tell us all about a fantastic cocktail that he's going to make for us. So, Brian Winter is a longtime resident of Minnesota and currently owns a home in Northeast Minneapolis. After retiring from the Army as a major, Brian started Wander North Distillery in 2013. Besides running the distillery, he also serves on the Northeast Minneapolis Chambers of Commerce Board of Directors and spends his free time reading and solving the world's problems on his front porch. Awesome.
Yeah, drinking and solving the world's problems do kind of go hand in hand, I figure. So, yeah.
What's the best problem you've solved to date?
Oh, today, I was tired, so I slept a little more. Problem solved. Problem saying solved.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So what are you making for us today?
Well, so creamsicles.
Yum.
Fantastic thing that you had as probably a kid, maybe as an adult. So we're going to teach you how to make a drink that tastes just like that creamsicle.
Perfect.
Additionally, this is an almost keto-friendly type of drink. So if you're looking for something really low calorie / not any carbs, this is a great drink for that.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
So first thing we're going to do is we're going to start at the very beginning. It's a good place to start. Wander North vodka. We're going to take 2 ounces of this and pour it into the ice-filled glass. This is a pretty easy drink, folks. We're trying to do something here that everybody could do. I'm going to add 2 ounces of, this is sparkling water that I poured earlier.
Awesome.
And we're going to put just a little bit more in there. But then, I'm not showing brands, but we've got a couple flavor enhancers. I've got a mango peach and an orange tangerine. Which would you prefer?
Orange tangerine.
All right, so we're going to take some orange tangerine, and we're going to put that in there just as the amount you would want. Now, you could also use a orange soda or something for this.
Sure.
However, most sodas that you're going to buy are full of high fructose corn syrup. This, you might even have the flavors, and it gives a whole lot of, a mango peach is going to taste different than an orange tangerine. So just with that one little change, you get a totally different drink almost.
Right.
So, and then our last thing that we're going to do is, this is whole milk. You could use cream. You could use half and half, whatever's in the fridge. But add some of that in, and then take your straw, stir it up.
Awesome. So the only calories is coming from the vodka and the cream.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. And it's keto friendly.
Yeah.
I'm not keto, but that's awesome because a lot of people are gluten-free keto. Oh, that's delicious.
Yeah.
It totally tastes like a creamsicle.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Awesome.
So, and as we head into winter, this is such a nice, we were just talking before you all showed up. It's a comfort type of drink because it's a little bit heavier. Even though it's cold, it seems to coat my insides almost on a cold day.
Sure. I love it. Well, cheers. So, Brian.
Yeah.
You were in the military. Tell me, how did you get into distilling, and tell me your journey with starting Wander North?
So I was active duty Army, stationed here in Minnesota, and had been doing the Army thing for quite a while, and really decided that I wanted to go a different way and make something. And I wanted to make something myself. I wanted to work for myself, work by myself, and it's kind of what led to the distillery.
Awesome. And what types of alcohols do you distill here?
So we have made vodka, gins, a couple different whiskeys, and an Applejack, which is a really young apple brandy. And our key product line now, though, is vodka, 2 different gins, and the Applejack.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we've had the chance, Daniel from his team has come to our office and let us sample everything, and it's delicious.
Thank you.
Awesome, smooth liquor. How did you learn how to make alcohol?
So there is, I had been brewing beer for quite a while
Okay.
at home. Brewing beer, making wine is legal at home in the United States.
Yeah, my husband's done wine in
Okay.
our basement.
Yeah. The distilling, however, is not legal.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. There's nowhere in the United States where it's legal to distill at home unless you're doing fuel alcohol, which is slightly different. But I did a ton of reading. The fact that I had been brewing before, because before you can distill something alcoholic, you have to have something alcoholic to put in the still. So if you're starting from grain, for us it's corn, you have to grind that grain up and then you have to ferment it. So having the brewing background helped. And then did a ton of reading and went to Siebel Institute down in Chicago and went through a course there.
Awesome. I didn't even know those existed.
Yeah. And
That's awesome. Is there anything we can celebrate for you this week?
this week, Thanksgiving, or excuse me, Halloween's coming up
Yeah,
here in a
it
couple
is.
days. But
Goes with my orange drink.
yeah, if we go a week beyond that, November 9th is the 100-year anniversary of my VFW post down in Uptown. So
Oh, wow.
100 years of that place being around. So
That's
pretty
crazy. And that's my 17th wedding anniversary. Cheers to
Perfect.
that.
Yeah, perfect.
Awesome. So walk us through when you have your alcohol being sold in stores all around the Twin Cities. Did you how did you expect immediate success, or tell us about some of the struggles?
Well, I don't even know what struggle to start with. I think, and there's other smaller distilleries around the state. There was about 4 of us that started up right there at the get-go because it was
Really?
in 2012, November of 2012, they dropped the annual licensing fee from $30,000 to $1,000 a year.
It
If
was
you're-
$30,000.
And if you're huge, it's still
Wow.
$30,000. But that, if you are just starting up saying, hey, I'm going to give this a try, that's a pretty big nut there. So when it changed, that's when you started to see distilling come to Minneapolis. When the licensing fees changed,
Right.
that's when you started to see distilleries pop up around the state. Wisconsin had some for a while. Iowa had some for a while. But when that lowered, and that's when I said, I'm going to do this. I had been working on a business plan previously and put in my notice with the Army.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah,
Brian, what did you want to be when you grew up?
alive.
Okay, that might be for... Do we need a lounge chair?
No. When I was a kid growing up, I did not think, wow, I want to be a distiller when I grow up.
Sure.
That would be I'd be a little off-put if a 6 or 7-year-old kid came up to me and like, I want to make booze when I grow up, just like Uncle Brian or something like that. I did want to be a soldier and ended up doing that. So
you did follow that path.
it wasn't all I ever wanted to do, but yeah, that was
Sure.
what kid growing up back in the 70s didn't think, yeah, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly. You have your master's in vocational education. What was your thought process behind obtaining that?
So when I left active duty the first time, that's when I moved up here to Minnesota and decided I wanted to get into teaching. And the U of M had a really nice program, whereas if I already had a bachelor's degree.
Sure.
If I wanted to go get a bachelor's in education, I would have had to pretty much repeat that whole thing. At the U, I could go get a master's degree and my teaching certificate
Awesome.
at that same time. And that's
Yeah.
what prompted it. The vocational education background, just in so many other things, has been really helpful as well.
Awesome. And being in the Army, tell me about, that you have to have a lot of leadership qualities because you're leading large teams of people and inspiring them. What is your tip for leaders?
You'd have to talk to my soldiers to see if I actually inspired any of them.
Oh, give yourself some credit.
It's the things that I found, and I ended up being a instructor for pre-officer candidate school. So this is something that I've done a fair amount of as well, which is mentoring next generation. Listen to your subordinates is probably one of the bigger things, because especially if you're an officer and you get moved into a unit, there's probably people that have been doing with this unit for 5-10 years sometimes.
Sure. So
hey, if you're brand new, listen, but keep in mind that you are also the boss at the end of the day. The decision is yours. Listening, probably one of the biggest things that I could say helps.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great lesson for everyone. So many people don't actively listen nowadays. You know what I'm saying? You're so funny.
So one thing you were mentioning, the Army versus this, is in the Army, you don't necessarily get to hire people. You may potentially hire somebody for this position. They're already in the military. They have your ethics. They have the training for the most part. What I found is, even here where I'm having to go and select my same people, the process is about the same. Talk to them as much as possible, because the way it looks on paper, this person may be great and perfect. Their skills may not translate over. Same's true in if you don't need somebody to interact with the public, don't think, man, this person does not interview well either, because who cares if they can talk to people?
Right.
If they can do that other job, that's what we're hiring them for.
Exactly.
So,
and I always tell hiring leaders, you're not hiring the resume, you're hiring the person. So you've got to figure out who that person really is, not just the piece of paper.
Very much
so. That's great advice.
Yeah, thanks.
So tell us the meaning behind the name Wander North.
Well, it started off as something different. There was another distillery that had almost the same name. Like, we filed for business licenses within a day of each other.
Seriously?
So I got in touch with that company and said, hey, both change, neither changes, or one of us changes.
Sure.
Which of these three options? And we both opted to change.
Oh, you both changed?
We both ended up changing.
Very amicable.
Yeah. And we actually sat down to discuss this over alcoholic or adult beverages, because, why would you go and bring lawyers in first thing? Nothing wrong with lawyers.
Right.
They cost a whole lot more than a cocktail does usually. So after I said, okay, maybe I'm not great at naming things, sat down with some friends, again, cocktails involved,
sure,
and started playing around with stuff. One of the things is a favorite quote of mine: "Not all who wander are lost."
Yep, I love that quote too.
We each have our own destination to our end state, and mine and yours are probably different. So wander, I thought, yeah, I do want wander in there. And my brother-in-law said, wow, how about Wander North? So we put a direction in there, because Minnesota is also the North Star
Absolutely.
state. So that's where it came from, yeah.
I love that. So if you were to sit down with your 20-year-old self, what would you tell him?
Probably listen. Would be one.
Can you tell my kids that?
Yeah. I tell a lot of people this, and they don't hear necessarily. I listen and stay away from a certain woman. That's the big thing. But at 20 years old, I probably wouldn't have listened to that either.
Oh, I love it, Brian. So what's the best advice you can give to our listeners who may be considering starting a business or changing careers, like how you went from Army to teaching and starting the distillery?
Yeah, so Army, teaching, back to the Army when 9/11 happened, and then, now with this, you've got soft skills that you're going to carry no matter what job it is.
Absolutely.
Do you show up on time? Do you show up? And now, having run a business with bartenders, these are big things. So those those soft skills are going to transfer. But talk to somebody, find out what those hard skills are, because the Army, there was a lot of hard skills that I had. They didn't translate over, and I got to pick up a ton of other hard skills and even some other soft skills to do this. Was there learning curves? A lot.
Sure.
Were some of them funny? Maybe, especially in hindsight.
Well, now I got to share. What's your funny learning experience you were thinking about there?
Oh, geez. One of the first times I was doing a mash where you're taking the grain and trying to turn it into a beer, distiller's beer. It got stuck, meaning it did not ferment. So this was, 400 gallons of water and about 700 pounds of grain, and having to basically slop this out because we couldn't pump it either. So it was not a lot of fun, but looking back, I chuckle at it. So,
Right. Don't we, if you don't laugh at your mistakes, life is no fun, and then we always learn from it and we move on, right?
Yeah, I mean, your mistakes are a whole lot funnier than mine, just because they didn't happen to me.
Right?
So, yeah.
I love it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for having us, especially on site at your wonderful distillery, Wander North.
Thanks for coming.
Where can we find you, Brian?
So if you're looking where to find our products,
yes.
if you go to wandernorthdistillery.com, we've got a location finder. So plug in your zip code and it'll direct you to some of the easiest places to find it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
Thanks
for being
so much,
on.
yeah.
For all of you hiring leaders who want the best tips on finding talent, go to careersandcocktails.com to download your free strategy guide. And for all of you job seekers who want to love your Mondays, you can go to the same site to find out where to purchase my book, I Hate Mondays. If you've liked this episode, please be sure to subscribe, click, and ring the bell, and we'll see you next time. Cheers!